The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Well, my girl got the sweetest pussy.
Welcome to
.com.
Do you feel awkward?
I feel
all by
awkward
yourself?
by myself.
Well, just so you know, Fernie is watching on our live Facebook feed because we always stream live Tuesday nights here at 7, and you can join the chat on our Facebook page or now over at the WWDBTV Listen Live link. She probably did it with you.
I'm pretty sure she did.
She loves doing it. It's like her favorite thing.
She practiced it for quite some time, so thank you, Fernie.
So, I don't have anything to talk about. I could totally nerd out on you, but I know you would be so bored.
So we had guests that were coming, and so we had an idea of what we were going to talk about with the guests. But now they're not.
I was looking forward to see if she had butt-scapades.
I was looking forward to more like our butt sexpert was coming in. But she had something that she had to do with work, and then somebody else was coming with her. And, I want her to talk about some of the events and stuff that are going on. So we didn't really plan much on our own.
Did you happen to? So Crave had their party last night.
On Saturday night. Yes, I went. So it was a lot of fun. It's a really great venue. You just have to secure parking. Or take an Uber or a Lyft. Take an Uber or a Lyft, which makes the most sense. I mean, I live far out in town, so it worked out easier for me. I had a friend that she had an extra room, and a bunch of people stay there. And so I had a friend with an extra room.
There's a hotel built in?
Yeah, there's a hotel that's part of it. And then right next door is a Super 8. Now, I didn't plan ahead because I never plan ahead. And so I decided at one point, like, you know what? I want to get a room. I'm going to get a room at the hotel. I'm just going to stay there. I'll check in nice and early. I'll spend the day relaxing. Maybe go down to the pool if it was, a warm pool. Just, lay in the bed, watch some TV. And by the time I checked and I called the hotel, they secure special rates for Crave. And by the time I did, there were just a few rooms left, and they were $200+, which is not the Crave rate at all. And so it was insane. And it turns out that you had to do it to get that rate by a certain time. And they booked everything up around there because it's the rock and roll marathon this past weekend.
Oh, I've been hearing complaints on social media about that all week. Or for the last few days anyway.
Yeah, so it was, the rock and roll marathon is super cool. It happens in all different cities throughout the U.S.
My favorite was, you're in the middle of the fucking desert. You had to do it down the main thoroughfare of the major city instead of going out to the middle of the nowhere where you wouldn't have bothered anyone.
Right. So that doesn't make sense. I mean, to be quite honest, I guess the draw is it being Vegas.
Yeah.
So when I left the hotel on Sunday, I made sure to leave in time before they closed the roads. But you could see the setup, they were very, very Vegas-y. And then my daughter worked the event as a volunteer. So it was a lot of commotion, a lot of different stations, kind of the coolest thing. So my daughter, what she did is that she worked a station where her and a friend manned a check-in booth, and people come and check in their bags. Their bags go into this big trailer, in certain numbered bins, and they pick their bags back. Like, then they drive these things to the end of the race, and they pick their bags back up after. I would assume they just go in a circle, but apparently not. I assumed a marathon was like a big old circle and they connect somewhere.
If the strip was a circle, maybe.
But yeah, but it was affecting, it was kind of wrapped to downtown too. So anyway, I guess it brings in a lot of money. The hotels were super expensive. So needless to say.
What does it support? Do you know off the top of your head?
Stuff. Like,
it is a charity
good
event.
Stuff. It is a charity
correct?
event, yes.
So,
and they have lots of
maybe muscular dystrophy or something like that. Cancer research. No idea. Johnny Fever, would you mind? Or is he here? Do you happen to know what the Rock and Roll Marathon supports? What the charity is for? It happens every year, though.
Maybe it's for people who run.
They don't give me anything, so I don't know.
Speaking of people who run, a really good friend of ours and of the show got married this weekend.
Yes.
And motherfucker didn't invite us.
Not at all.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, don't worry. We'll watch it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, buddy.
Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there that a really good friend of ours got married and we were not invited. I feel completely. Can I use the word dissed? Can I use that word?
It is.
anymore?
No, it's a good word. Dissed is good. We can use it in this circumstance.
I feel completely
We were
dissed.
all dissed. And I mean, granted, it was probably out of fear that I'd steal some of the wedding cake. Like, and by some, I mean most. And yeah, I mean, I won't deny that probably would have happened. But, I don't know. We would have each brought in a big purse.
Yes.
Put all that cake in there. I saw the cake. It was gorgeous.
Aww.
We could have each
It was like
cut
a traditional, regular-ass wedding,
traditional-
right?
Yeah.
We were not invited.
We could have each had, if the three of us each brought 3 big purses, lined it in plastic, we could have each taken a layer of that cake and had cake for a long time.
So
Invite us to your weddings, people.
So the very first time that he got wind of this, he had dated Sierra, and that's how we met him. And he did not know that she had the show because we were not advertising it back then that we were doing this. And then he found the show, and we had talked about him.
Right, I heard that.
Yes. But he loved it and became one of the biggest fans of the show. So I figured that at least would garner us a wedding invitation.
Right. I mean, we could have broadcast live from the wedding.
Oh my God, we would totally broadcast live from your wedding.
How do you miss that golden opportunity?
We will
I don't
interview
understand.
all your guests. They can tell stories about your sexcapades
Yes.
and buttcapades.
Yes. People, this is a new venue for
Yes,
us.
it is.
We would like to attend weddings. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
We will make your guests uncomfortable and ask them about ass sex. And, invite us.
Yeah.
This is ideal.
Ideal.
And then, we could get the bride and groom on and discuss exactly, if they've had sex before this day and what are their plans. Like, what order do they plan to go into things?
We can also ask them about what they think you're going to be doing on your wedding night with your new spouse.
Yes.
So that would just
we'll
totally feed you with ideas for the next
interview
year.
Yeah, you know how oh my God. No, write this down. This is our money here. Right here. This is our money. So we are going to, you know how at some weddings they have little wishes that you write for the happy couple, or even they do it at baby showers, little wishes. So instead of little wishes, we want to get from the guests suggested sex moves or poses or, maybe order of events, just little things. And then we'll provide that to the bride and the groom after, and they pull from the jar and then do what the paper says.
That's right. The ultimate wedding game.
It is perfect. Why haven't we thought of this before this moment?
Because we had never had cake on the brain as much as being dissed from this wedding.
Oh my God. How We're writing this down,
I
right?
got it.
Like, we're going to go back to
wedding
this
broadcast,
episode.
suggested sex moves.
This is it. Johnny, can we get you married, buddy?
Sex games for the bride and groom.
If you can find me somebody with enough money, hell yes.
Got it. Okay, so that's your requirement then. Just find somebody who has to have enough money. Okay.
That's my requirement. And you know what? Mr. Friendly, handsome guy from Alabama who hit on me, I'd marry you if you had enough money.
Look.
And I'd never have to see you.
Somebody in our chat I know is getting married. I saw somewhere.
I'm very excited.
She just hopped in. Propose this again. Share it again.
Oh, yes.
Share our service.
So, I know you're getting married, and I'm going to be a guest, and Sierra's actually going to be a bridesmaid, which is kind of awesome.
Come on. Sell it right now. You're going to love it. You're going to
So
love
we're
it.
offering a new service, Sin City Bounty
Yes.
Incorporated.
Yes.
LLC.
Yes.
Uh,
Wedding extraordinaire.
yes. We're
Wedding
offering a new
sex
service
extraordinaire.
that we will totally broadcast from your wedding and interview each
Yes.
and every one of your guests.
Yes.
And when we interview them, we will ask them for their suggested sex moves for the married couple.
Yes.
And we will take all of those suggestions and write them out on a piece of paper and throw it in a jar, seal the jar, so when you get home, every night for the next however many wedding guests you have, like if you have 60...
see, I'm like, get them all that night.
No.
No, okay.
For 60 whole days.
Okay. I was just
You can
thinking one
start
night. I was
pulling-
like,
Pulling suggestions out of the jar.
we're gonna give them 2 Red Bulls, a container of lube, and the suggestions. Like,
You know that some asshole at their wedding is going to suggest 2 Red Bulls and some lube.
that asshole will be me. Like, that's the one I'm gonna put in there. That's my idea. So I'm not sure. I think you're still around on here. I totally just accidentally clicked onto Trump. So you know who you are, individual who's about to get married. If you would like this service, Sin City Bounty Wedding, what were we calling it?
I don't know. What is it?
A wedding experience.
Oh!
Wedding, Sin City Bounty Wedding. You have to
And
do it
your
like this,
fees are quite reasonable.
Sex experience. Yeah, cake.
Experience.
Sex experience.
Experience.
All we require is cake and then watching you on your honeymoon.
I would totally do it for free if I could sit, pull up a chair with some popcorn, and watch the sex.
Oh, we
No,
don't
no,
even have
we
to
won't
broadcast. Some people don't
broadcast the
want that.
sex.
No.
I
We will. We
but
will do a blow by blow.
I
though.
will and have take totally secret pictures.
We will.
Facebook Live.
No, we're gonna Twitter it. We're gonna tweet it, Twitter it. During, we're gonna be like, his hand is on her right ass cheek, middle finger sliding in. We'll like comment, like we'll provide, like.
Wait, the middle finger?
The play-by-play.
Yeah, the play-by-play. See, here's what used to happen. My ex-husband used to sit on the sideline at soccer, and legit, he gave play-by-plays as if he was a wrestling commentator. And he would
For a soccer game.
For a kid's soccer game. He doesn't go anymore. He used to go when she was little. And he would sit there and it would be play-by-play. And I'm like, you fucking sound like you're Jerry Lawler, like Jerry the King Lawler commenting on a game and it's WrestleMania. I'm like, can we not? But it's taught me now what to do. And I can totally, do a sports
play-by-play.
commentate. Yeah, I could do this of your sex
awesome.
moves. And I mean, really, let's just expand it. We don't want to limit it to weddings. If you do want us to come in and give a play-by-play, first date, you want us to give a play-by-play of your... This is what happens when our schedule changes.
You know who's going to hire us? All the girls are going to hire us. And all the guys are going to be freaking the fuck out.
No, they're going to hire us thinking, like, their game is on. Like, my game is, really good. And we're going to be there like, you're going to put that where? And what? Like, are you sure you're ready?
What are you going to do?
I think you need a little more time. Let's build up.
I love it.
Bernie does not need Red Bull. Somebody said that would be sofa might be more appropriate at the party portion. Well,
yeah, except you're like bar hopping. That's your party portion.
see, well, the party if we wait till the party portion, then it's hard to get the pastor's feedback. So we probably that's why. That's why it's better at the ceremony.
No, actually, I think it is geared towards the party portion.
Okay, so the
is
party,
geared towards
I
the
guess,
party
if we must, I'll call the pastor on their own.
We're definitely not going to do it during the wedding.
was-
That should be at least sacred for them
Sure.
and them alone.
Okay, all right. I guess I overstepped.
I mean, we get the party portion and the wedding night sex.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can't take in the whole wedding. Yeah, you're right. We can't. Okay. All right. Fair enough. No pastor at this wedding, just ordained friend. Even better.
He'll have some suggestions for you. I know an ordained friend who, after a wedding they performed, got up on the bar and practically danced naked. That is the best kind of officiant to have.
I know an ordained friend who I believe told a story about sex in the parking lot after, but I could be mistaken that.
I think wasn't that Sierra? Because our
I
Sierra.
was so trying to be cool about it. Like,
Hey, you know what? That goes with our new business idea. Sierra is part of the package.
True.
She will marry you.
She is ordained.
And then we will broadcast afterwards.
And then she might give you a blowjob in the parking lot after. I don't know. I'm not promising it. We're not putting that in the contract.
Only if the spouse agrees.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of the married couple. I was just like, there's got to be a cute DJ there.
She might give anybody a blowjob. Don't do that to our girl.
What's happening here?
That's
I
our
don't know what
girl.
happened.
Oh my God.
I don't know what happened. I mean, I guess we probably should ask her first if she's okay with that. Like, are you okay with us offering you
She
your
is single now,
blowjobs
single and ready to mingle.
in the parking lot of a wedding that she just
Officiated.
See, Sarah, this is what happens when you're not here.
We volunteer you for everything.
We have volunteered you for our new business, Wedding Sexperience.
That's right. You have to do it with the hands. Wedding Sexperience.
And, I mean, it'll be great, you know? If they're lined up, I mean, I'm sure someone else will jump in. I'm meaning you. You'll jump in.
No.
Yeah, we both know it's me.
So funny.
All right, so we totally, I mean, this is great. We totally just pounded out a business plan. Literally.
She said pound it out.
I wasn't going to bring it up. That's what she said.
I was just. Oh, okay.
Are we clear now?
I think we're good. How did we get on weddings? I have no idea how this
Because of
happened.
our good friend who did not invite us to his goddamn wedding.
And he could have had all of these services provided to him at no cost except for cake.
And to be able to watch them on their wedding night.
Right.
Don't
I'm
jip
sorry.
me.
I'm sorry. I will not cut out the good part. So so that's it. Where can we market this? Like, Craigslist is no longer an avenue.
Your Facebook advertising is actually pretty inexpensive.
Oh, Chris, I'm glad y'all aren't planning my next wedding, but we can, Chris. We can. That's what we're telling you.
We're a service. That
Yeah, we're a
you
service.
can hire. We don't plan the wedding.
We don't plan the wedding.
No.
You plan the wedding. We plan the sex-perience, the wedding sex-perience. And we provide an ordained minister.
Yes, or someone who is ordained.
Someone who is ordained.
I don't know if she would like to be called
I
a
don't
minister.
think, no, but I don't know what the other term is. An ordained body?
Human.
Officiant! Thank you.
We used that word already. I didn't think we could use it
you.
again.
So Chris is...
For the same sex.
It's okay, we can use it. So we provide, so our wedding sex-perience includes the officiant, our broadcast, our jar of sex poses that we have
that are donated by your very
by your
good
guests.
friends and family.
I can't wait to ask your grandmother her favorite position or the best way to attack the balls. Like, I just want to ask someone's grandmother this.
Because
So,
they've got the knowledge.
of course.
Because they were doing all the crazy stuff before any of us got around to it. So, I've heard about those key swapping parties, I'm telling you.
Key swapping parties.
Back in the 70s. Everybody go to a house, put your keys in the thing, and whatever keys you grab, that's who you went home with.
I would just take the car. I'm not going home with you.
That could be the reason they don't do it anymore.
That's probably why. Or they do it, but they don't invite me because...
Wait. This is a Prius key. I'm just going.
A Prius. Way to have high standards there. You're like, good for the environment.
It is. It's like the epitome of
Low
the
on
good guy
gas.
car.
I know it is. Actually, it's... Andy has several questions for me. Yes. Did you want to have... Do you have any questions on our wedding sex experience that we now offer? Our new service.
Chris, I'm gonna take it. Chris is a dude, right?
Chris is a dude.
Chris, make sure you at least tell your wife that we offer this because I'm pretty sure she would want to hire us.
I think so.
I'm telling you,
really,
it's gonna be all the girls that want to hire us, not the guys.
I think it'll be a good sell.
Yeah.
I really like this. I do. I'm totally into this. I mean, cake, watching others on their honeymoon,
That is
on their
my
wedding night.
I am such a voyeur. I swear to God, I
am
love,
too.
love watch. And live is better than TV. Live is better than internet, better than any of that.
So true.
Sometimes
Yeah,
you
so
get
true.
spittle on you.
Whoa, your own spittle, or it's like flying from the couple?
Flying from the couple.
I'm not done
Sweat,
with that. I am
sweat,
like,
spittle. Well, I sit
I'm
close.
like, no,
I'm
I'm
like a front row seat
no,
person.
I'm like at SeaWorld, I never go in the splash zone. Like, I will not fucking go in that splash zone. There's no way, shape, or form. You can go in the sex splash zone, but I'm not going in the splash zone.
At like a movie, I cannot sit in that front section, where I cannot, it's just too big. But I haven't had that problem watching live sex. It's never too big yet.
Yet.
I'm waiting for the day.
If you have big sex, too big sex.
So I'll sit in the splash zone. And if I get splashed,
I will be behind her, like totally into it because I'm pervy like that. But I'll be wearing like the Gordon
but
Fisherman
you need to
hat
know,
and jacket.
if you splash me while you're having sex, I'm going to smell it to make sure it's, okay.
Cancel the service. Cancel the service. I'm out. It's one thing if you're part of it. It's another thing. I'm telling you, Gordon Fisherman, me, hat, rain jacket, sitting in the back, maybe an umbrella. If I see she's a squirter, I'm going to be like, this is hot, but pull up my umbrella.
All right.
Okay.
So he wants to know the position thing for you.
What one would I suggest? It depends on what their sizes are like, as far as, because different people connect in different ways. So, like, I have a particular favorite, but it depends on, like, it can't be done if the guy's a bigger guy.
Isn't there, when you're scrolling, did you make your Tumblr porn page?
I think I've mentioned my Tumblr. We set it up.
When you're
my
scrolling, what is the highest percentage of a certain position
Okay.
that you like?
So first, let me just tell you about my Tumblr. If I'm sorry to repeat for those who have heard, I set it up purely for masturbation purposes.
That's what Tumblr
They
porn
told
is
me
for.
about it. I'm like, what is this magic? And so I set it up for that purpose.
Is it totally magic?
It's so magic at
So
first,
magical.
but then I started following some kitten pictures and some inspirational
no wonder.
quotes. So then I'll be like, dick, 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 vagina, dick, dick, boobs. Oh, look at the kitty.
Yeah.
And then, you scroll through and it's like, grab onto the moon and shoot for the stars.
Okay.
I'm like, all right.
So let me warn you, and we've given this warning before. We're going to do it again. Go and make yourself a separate Tumblr account, just for porn.
Yeah.
Do not follow your friends. Do not follow inspirational quotes.
Don't do it.
Do not
It ruins the
follow-
mood. It really does.
I'm a total nerd, but I will not follow any nerdy stuff. In fact, I have a really good friend, another big fan of the show, who I know will invite us to his wedding when he gets married, who was following me on that Tumblr for a while. And then when I would open my feed and I would see his posts, it's like shocking because you're expecting
like your
boobs
clit
and
would hide.
dick. Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I apologized profusely and told him I had to unfollow him. So
No, when you're scrolling and it's going good and all of a sudden it's like kittens in a basket, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Now what was I doing? Like,
Right.
it's done. The moment's over.
Tumblr porn should be for porn and porn only. Tumblr already kind of ruins it because they'll
Right.
put in advertisements for Oreos.
They will.
And
They will.
Capri Suns.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you the Oreos don't throw me off as much as like a little kitten hanging from a tree. Like, just hang on. But as far as the position thing, again, I think it really, what I would suggest really depends on the couple and like what
Well,
but
but give us an example. So let's say it's a skinny girl and a big guy.
So in that case, I've never been in that
Two
scenario.
big people.
Two big people. Okay, well, that is probably my first suggestion would be off the edge of the bed, or there's this really cool harness thing that Jen Singh, who is on our stuff, we've interviewed her many times, but she actually sold it to me. But it's this great sling where you can like kind of move someone around and get in better position. So I would suggest either of those. I'd suggest leveraging different things.
Do you prefer like athletic sex? Like, are you like constantly moving and putting your feet behind your head? And...
I will admit I've had I've received comments that I'm a little bit more flexible than it would be assumed, and I'm like, well, I don't do it right this moment, but I've done yoga. Like I can move. You just gotta, in some cases, you gotta help me out. So yeah, I'm probably a little bit more.
I am the laziest fuck in the world. I swear to God. Because my favorite position is the woman lying on the bed and the guy between her legs rubbing his dick on her clit. That is my favorite thing in the world, and I have tons of that on my Tumblr porn. That's all I want. I don't want to move. I don't want to be on top.
See, so it's totally different for me now. I mean, when I was married, and I'll be honest, because trust me, he will tell anyone who will listen. That was it for me. I would be like, can we put TV on? Like, I'm almost done with this SVU. Like, you can go to town if I could just finish this episode. And so it would be like, hey, do you want to try? Nah, like, I'm really just relaxed right here. So I'll admit, I mean, in hindsight, that poor guy, I probably should have been a little bit more enthusiastic, but like I said, he'll tell anyone who will listen, so I'm not sharing a big old secret here. But now it's totally different, like totally different. I'm like, you want me to go where and do what? All right, let's give it a shot. Like, I don't think my head's going to fit down the middle of your couch and your love seat, but I will try this. I will try anything twice. Like,
all right. His second question was the best way for you to play with the balls.
Again, that depends on the individual. I like to find out what the guy likes first. So some don't touch. Some are like, do not touch my balls. Others, you can kind of caress them during.
Do you have here's a questionnaire. Would you fill this out for me about if I can play with your balls and butthole?
Oh, no, see, okay, so here's the thing. Because I'm awkward, but I'm also pretty open when it comes to sex, I will just ask, like, what do you like done with your balls? What do you like done? Period. Let's not play around. Let's not spend all, the whole time trying to figure out what gets you the most. Just fucking tell me what to do with your balls. Like, what do you like? So That's it.
All right.
That's nice and easy. So I hope that answers the question.
Things to do with the balls?
With the balls? Not necessarily. No. There's nothing where I'm like, listen, I have to do this.
Have you ever had a dude want you to be really rough with him?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I mean, I can, I can be gentle if they don't like it.
Isn't it off-putting when they start screaming? Like, ah! I mean, I would stop and I would go, "Are you okay?"
That's what I do. I will tell you, I'm also a sex okayer. Like, are you good? Are you okay? You cool? You okay? It is off-putting. I totally admit. Like, the first time it'll throw you off. After a while, you'll get used to it. But I'm.
That's when you remember that you're supposed to establish a safe word.
Right, but I'm not going to do anything unless they're like, really, do this. No, I don't know. Like, I don't want to hurt somebody. Right. So.
But when they want you to hurt them, and then they start screaming, oh, I couldn't do it.
Okay, so at that point I would stop. So let me dial it back. Yes, I've had guys who like wanted me to be hard with their balls, and yes, I have been, but not to that extreme. Like I haven't, pierced them or drew blood or, kick them or anything like that. It's just kind of up to what they can.
M says, not sure what I stumbled into the middle of here, but I'm too single for this conversation. I'm missing out on the real fun. This is a conversation for single people, right? This is how do you talk to sex with a potential mate, especially when you want to start doing things to his balls.
True. I'm very much like, let's talk about this kind of up front because it's going to happen. I mean, I'm not 22. I'm not like looking for, this is my next husband and I just want to, I have to be ready to marry him before like I'll give him my flower.
She will do the harness, but not the chandelier.
I won't do the chandelier unless, but I'm like of the mindset that like I'm old enough and I tend to date guys around my age anyway. So they're old enough to know like, hey, at this point we know what we like. We know what we enjoy. We know what we want. We know what we don't want. Like, let's get this out of the way. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, okay. But I don't necessarily,
Isn't that one of the most exciting parts when you're dating is learning how to sex each other? Not necessarily talking, not necessarily finding out what you have in common, but how to make each other feel good in the bedroom.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes beyond the initial conversation. So that absolutely happens. But that's at least you want to know going in. Like for example, if you are talking to somebody and they're very, very dominant and you're very, very dominant and there's no give on either side, what are you going to do? Either one of you has to change what you like or it's not going to work. So why are you going to keep... You're going to be trying to like slap each other. Like you're just going to be there.
I just have this image in my head of some guy trying to spank you and you're going, fuck you, kicking him in the balls.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it'll be. It'll be like those cartoons or whatever where you have like people and they're like at each other. That's what the whole thing will be. Or you'll both like be pulling out your whip bag and you'll be like, which one? No. It's not going to work. Am I burning the candle on you today? Like, yeah, and I'm going to taser your balls. Like,
I actually know a couple of BDSM-oriented couples that they switch off all the time. And they just call it switching. And one will take on the role of the subordinate.
Okay, so if they switch, then that could work. But wouldn't you want to know that up front?
Well, yeah, you have to plan that. But that's
so
but they're already in the relationship, so.
Okay, so wouldn't you want to know that going in, that, hey...
Well, that's part of the conversation part, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's why I like that conversation to be had.
Yeah, and...
I mean, there's not everything that you want to kind of figure out together and...
So here's your lesson for this show is, girls like to talk.
Yeah.
We do. We like to sex, but we like to talk first to get to know what it is that we're going to be sexing about.
Right. That's
So
it.
you can't,
Which doesn't necessarily, do not mistake, that does not equate dick picture. Like, that is not what we're saying.
unless it's asked for, I guess.
Unsolicited. I mean, unsolicited.
Isn't it Sierra? Yeah, unsolicited dick pics. Sierra likes getting dick pics.
I like getting dick pics, but I don't like getting them from strangers.
Yeah.
And I like being aware I'm getting dick pics. And the reason for that is the time the guy sent me pictures of him, remember Jizz in the Eye, where like it was another guy nutting in his face. And there were some others, and I wasn't prepared, so I was with people where I couldn't really, receive these pictures. And I've opened it, or I have a friend, and he's an asshole. He does it on purpose. Like if I'm at soccer, moments later I'll get a dick pic, and he knows it's because I'm sitting around with the soccer parents, and then I'm the pervy single soccer mom who's staring at dicks on the sideline while everyone's playing.
Right.
So I never tell him anymore if I'm at soccer.
Why don't you
Never.
just block him?
Because he's an actual friend.
Okay.
So he does it. I say he's an asshole, and he is an asshole. I tell him to his face, but
He does it to get you in trouble.
Right. He does it because he thinks it's hilarious. So, yeah. And it's bad enough I just shook the reputation of being the soccer mom who gave the coach a lap dance. Nobody seems to remember now. We've moved on to a different age bracket. It seems to be forgotten that that's happened before. So,
All right.
I just don't want to get back there.
If you're just tuning in, you should know that Sin City Bounty is now offering the...
Wedding Sexperience.
So if you're interested in hiring us to broadcast from your show, we will totally...
From your wedding.
From your wedding.
Right.
We will totally interview all your friends and family and get their suggestions for your sexual positions for the first year of your marriage.
And as a gift from us, at the end, for participating in the Wedding Sexperience, for hiring our service, you will get all of these suggestions, which you and your spouse will get to pull from, and then, do the suggested poses. Keep those in rotation, because trust me, once you're married 10 plus years, you're going to want that jar back.
Right.
And then also, I'm going to give you a container of lube and 2 Red Bull. So...
And all that's required for payment is wedding cake.
Wedding cake.
I would like wedding dinner.
I mean, I could eat.
If they serve dinner, I want the dinner.
But dinner's it depends on what kind of wedding. I mean, they could be 50, 60 plus a plate. And then, not that we're not worth it. Fuck that, we're worth it. We want food. You're feeding us.
Food, cake, and we get to watch your marital night bliss.
And she will watch from up close, and I will watch from further back.
Wearing the
Gordon Fisherman rain gear.
There we go.
Wait till Sierra hears what we volunteered her for.
Oh yeah, and we provide the officiant.
And occasionally a blowjob in the parking lot, but only if she consents.
Occasionally.
Yes. I don't know if she's going to hate that we offered that, or let's see if it's a surprise. Hey. Surprise.
All right. What's going on that you want to talk about? Anything?
So there was this. I love Saturday Night Live. Do you watch Saturday Night Live?
I haven't watched it this season.
Okay, so I want to say the name correct, so I apologize, but Pete Davidson,
yes.
who is the one who was, who was the one who was dating Ariana Grande. He did a segment on there called First Impressions, and so he pulled up pictures and he gave you what his first impression of him, of that person was. And he got to a gentleman who was up for election. I believe he won. And his name is, he's a Navy SEAL, Congressman Dan Crenshaw. And he had an eye patch. He had lost his eye in war. He lost his eye, I believe, in Afghanistan. He said, so when the picture came up, he's like, you would be surprised to know that this man is running for Congress, and he's not a porn star. And then he said like, or, you know, yeah, I know he lost his eye in war or whatever. Oh, he's not a hitman from a porno movie. He's like, yeah, I know he lost his eye in war or whatever. So people were outraged. It was, I mean, bad. It was horrible what he said. It was really horrible. People were outraged. They were calling, you know, for him to be fired, SNL to issue apologies. So they got Dan Crenshaw. They interviewed him, and Dan Crenshaw was like, listen, I don't require an apology. He just needs to be more sensitive. Like, he shouldn't have done it. You know, hey, if they want to donate $1 million, you know, to...
I think just the premise of first impressions is pretty bad anyway.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And a lot of the talk shows do it, because I know that even like Jimmy Fallon does it. You know, that he'll do first impressions with individuals. So, I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
So what happened, so it was an outrage, you know, he suggested, hey, if they want to donate $1 million, the interviewer is like, I don't know if Pete Davidson has $1 million. This past Saturday, Pete Davidson issued an apology. And, you know, and he said he was sorry. And he said it's the first time that the left and the right could come together because they all agreed I'm a dick. And then Dan Crenshaw came out. And he was a super good sport. And he said, you know, that you know, people really should be more united. They gave him a chance to take some stabs at Pete, and he said, like, he looks like as if the meth from Breaking Bad was a human, or he looks like a troll doll with a tapeworm, or he looks like Martin Short from Santa Claus 3. However, and then they had a picture of the two up. He's like, however, only one of these guys is actually good on SNL. It was hilarious. And then the congressman's phone rang, but his ringtone was an Ariana Grande song, and, you know, it was great. And then afterward, he really gave a message of unity, which was, you know, it was amazing. It was very heartfelt. The apology was heartfelt, you know, the congressman's part was very heartfelt. It was amazing. It was kind of how, if you've got to apologize, like, first, don't be a dick. But if you have, and you have to apologize, and you're sincere and genuine in it, I haven't seen one better. So
I'm going to tell you, I am not a fan of 45. Right? Mm-hmm. Number 45. I refuse to say he's my president. I don't call him President Trump if I can help it. I'm not a big fan, but I look at my feed, and most of my friends don't like Donald Trump either, which is, you know, great. That's why they're my friends on Facebook. But there are so many of them that I'm not a big fan of calling him a Cheeto. I'm not a big fan of making fun of his orangeness or whatever. Right. I don't like when he's being called names. He's still a human being, one of the lowest human beings on the planet, but... don't get me wrong. I'm guilty as well of that first impression kind of thing. Or
I will tell you real fast. I've called some people out around here for calling him an orange Cheeto.
But yeah, you just have to make yourself better. You know.
I have to respond to that, and my response is, "Suck it, 45."
And I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. I'm not okay with suck at 45, you big orange Cheeto.
I had to have this same conversation with my daughter because she is not a fan of Trump. I've talked about it on here before that, y'all, we're having a group of kids coming up that it's insane. You know, it's insane. And people think that all they do is eat Tide Pods, but... no, they're plotting your future. Like, that's what they're doing.
I love the kids coming up. In fact, I just wrote a blog post about the Sabrina show. There's a lot of, in the community that I'm in, there's a lot of worry about how that show portrays people like me or Satanists, who I have some friends who are Satanists or whatever. And it's not what you think. It's that whole first impression service thing, right? But I'm not, as soon as your daughter starts taking over, we'll be fine. I have no problem.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a 72-year-old running the country, that's old world thinking. And if you've been around old people, most old people, I don't want to say all, my neighbor is like totally liberal. Johnny Fever, he's like totally liberal.
Johnny Fever's like the most liberal person.
Right?
Like,
but most people over the age of 60 are
Right, it's
Bernie
true.
Sanders looks at me and goes, "Damn."
yeah.
are crotchety, old,
They are.
right wing,
That's why
prejudiced.
with the Parkland, with the shooters, when David Hogue was out there, and all of the other individuals, and they started getting out there, like having their voice heard and giving their opinion, and everybody's like, they're fucking kids, what do they know? They're fucking kids who are old enough to vote. Like, they can go to war now. They can do all of this. Like, yeah, you might want to at least take a listen, because what people don't recognize is that they're the next group coming up. They're overtaking, I believe, that age group. There's more of them than, the baby boomers, which was a huge group.
I have never been as proud of a young generation, the ones today, since the 60s.
I love them. I love the kids.
They're
today.
woke.
And look,
That's the
I
word.
don't have kids because I don't really like kids. I won't start talking to kids until they're 14 or 15 when they can have actual conversations. But I
Right.
love the kids coming up today.
My friend Desi, she used to host the show years ago. Desiree would not talk to my daughter until she turned like 14. And she used to she would get in the car and my daughter would be in the car and she'd be like, "Hey." And then she wouldn't talk again until my daughter was out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't converse because, number one, she was afraid of saying something. She's like, I just can't converse with kids. I'm like, all right. But, now she's totally, she's totally cool with her.
I love I love what's going on because number one, they don't want to pick a gender. Fuck it. Why should we have
Right.
to? I'm like, you go. Do it.
Absolutely.
All of them want to fight against the patriarchy. All of them want to fight against all the people who are pushing everybody to the
Right.
ground.
And
I love it.
they're not quiet. They're not conforming. You know what I'm saying? Like, they all have differing opinions, but the opinions seem to be, for the most part, for good. Yeah. I mean, she does have a kid at her school that when they were out there protesting, he drove his pickup truck with his Confederate flag on the back, and he roared it around them.
But what does that come from? That comes from that crotchety old.
From their family, absolutely. But I think that the whole reason I brought that up, and I can't remember what it was now.
I can't either.
Oh, but I had to tell her that part of her argument, if she's ever discussing him, I never want to hear the words orange, Cheeto, any of that.
Oh,
Nothing
yeah.
to do with his face, his body, any of that. I never want to hear that come out of her mouth because it makes everything else she just said to me invalid. I'm not
Yeah.
going to listen to anything else if that's what you have to use. Like, if you're telling me that that's what you have to use to describe, and you're totally the exception, just so you know. You're the exception.
Absolutely.
But I'm just saying, from my
So I
daughter.
can call him a moron.
You can call him whatever you want. I mean, my daughter calls him that same
Moron
thing. But,
isn't a physical description.
Right.
It's not making fun of his looks.
right. But for her, I'm like, I'll stop the conversation there if that's, like, if you're showing me you're not intelligent enough to have this discussion.
I get the last minute at the end.
Then okay, so then there's that. And really quick to answer the question, before any and as much as anyone does.
I didn't.
That's okay. There were
What's the
some
question?
questions. Do you prefer for a man to eat you out before or after sex? Think it was
what?
from before. Do you prefer a man to eat you out before or after sex? I think it was from the prior conversation.
I think that's up to the man.
No, that's
should
up to me. You can do it before.
No, I believe it should. There are some men that like it after.
You could do it both then.
We need a palate cleanser before I go into the segue
I
at
know.
the last minute.
Let's go back to Trump.
No. So
That's enough to
something
cleanse your
happened.
palate.
Something happened this week. Johnny Fever, you just need to block out Toxi for this part, because I know she probably doesn't even know who I'm talking about. But one of the biggest people in the comic books industry died this week, Stan Lee. And I'm a huge fan of all of his comics. I know Sierra.
I know
and,
who he is.
Do you know who he is?
Yeah, I know who he
good.
is. Marvel.
We loved him, and we love him still, and we are very thankful and grateful that all that he's given us. You're not gonna cry, are you?
I'm not going to cry.
Oh, okay.
Yes?
You know, in LA every year he does this Comic-Con, Stan
Mm-hmm.
Lee's Kamikaze. Do you know who his partner in that is?
His daughter.
No,
Oh.
Elvira.
Do you know his
They've
daughter?
been doing that together for the last few years.
Do you know he has one more character out? And his daughter helped create the character, and then he helped develop it. So you have one more character coming.
All right. I'm Alexia.
Toxi.
Toxi's offering. What is it again?
Wedding experience.
We'll see you next week if you're brave enough.
Later, bitches.